Good morning, happy Friday. Welcome to the Pitch Track Chronicles. I am Uncle Tass. I am here with Rob, and I think we just need to rip this fucking Band-Aid right off, right? I feel like they just refuse. Not even that they don't even have the ability or they want to shelter us. They refuse to be honest with us. You're dealing, and this all goes, I'm talking about the whole situation with Rizzo. How do you let this go for so long? You see that the guy has been struggling since the collision with Tatis, right? Which in the moment didn't look that bad, And then when you're going back, you're hearing the concussion. You go, I think Talking Yanks put out an extended clip where you could actually, they reminded us about them struggling and kind of tripping over himself a little bit. Didn't that raise a flag that maybe there was more to it than met the eye? And why they waited? I think what makes it even worse is waiting till after the deadline to even address anything. I understand. We're going to get into the whole thing with Herman because to me that's a separate story. Of the post deadline headache. Excuse me. But they should have. They really, really fucked up this whole thing with Rizzo and his struggles this year.
I mean, where do we even begin, right? Like, we just won 2 in a row, and naturally, other news has to take over.
Yeah.
It goes to. And the thing that really bothers me the most about this, aside from the fact that Rizzo could be dealing with concussion stuff, because that's never fun. Yeah, that's a serious thing. We saw how it affected Clint Frazier, and remember a few years ago, Brandon Drury had the vision issues. So the fact that everybody but the Yankees saw this is a problem. Like, we noticed it. Pete noticed it. Hector noticed it. Talking Yanks noticed it, and they asked Aaron Boone. They have the luxury of talking to the guy every week, and they said, is there something wrong? And no, he's fine. He's 100% healthy. He's good to go. So at that point, you got to blame both sides. Like, Rizzo was he feeling something, and was he hiding it? Or were the Yankees just not looking into anything? And the fact that he played 2 games in a row after talking about having like foggy vision, that's another issue. Like, he struck out 5 times. He said his vision was a little foggy. He told the Yankees that, and they played him the next 2 games. Like, how are we supposed to be like? How are we supposed to believe this organization and anything they tell us? Like, oh, and then of course they do the testing and they say, oh, it just links back to him getting hit in the head. Well, of course it does, because right after that happened, he stunk. Like, you don't go from playing the level he was playing, because he was playing out of his mind for the first month and a half. And then he couldn't hit, and it just happened like overnight. Like, it doesn't happen. You don't just lose your ability to play the game in 24 hours or 3 to 72 hours, whatever. You don't just lose your ability to hit. And he just completely lost his ability to hit. He went from being an MVP caliber player in April and May to literally the worst hitter in baseball over the last 2 months. And clearly it was linked to the neck and the head injury, and the Yankees they let all that time go by and didn't do anything. And that, to me, that's a terrible, terrible, terrible thing, because first of all, you're paying this guy a lot of money, but money aside, that's a head injury. And we've seen how in sports, especially with football, how that can affect someone moving forward. I don't know. I'm no doctor. I'm not going to try to make any assumptions, but you're talking about a concussion, and the fact that it's affecting him 2 months later, it tells you that they did not look into this any further after the first testing they did. Oh, it came back negative. He's fine, but now he can't hit. How do you not, after the first 3 weeks, say, we got to get you looked at and see if there's anything else we're missing here? But they didn't even do that. It's terrible. I feel really bad for Rizzo.
No, it's their ignorance to see the red flags that was happening. And you don't wait, and you wait until after the deadline where you can't make any adjustments to your roster, to finally put, say, hey, he's hurt. It's their timing sucks. It really does suck. What does not suck is this chat, guys. All right, listen, let's get some roll call going in. So we got Mazza from the Fort Train Express. What's going on, Mazza? We got Dev Finch in the building. Mike, he's saying hello to Mike. What's going on, Dev? You got I'm like, who the hell is Mike? I'm so used to calling him Mazza, I forget his first name. But we got NFE in the building. We got the upper deck. Our ladies from the upper deck. Let us know which one of you it is. Is this Lynn? Is this Chris? Is this neither one of you? We have Mr. Barros in the building. Good morning. You got Jonathan here as always. Jonathan loyal as ever. Anthony Garcia, what's going on, Anthony? Joan Seco, how's it going, Joan? Good morning, good morning. Medina, what's going on, Medina? So we if it was before the deadline and they were trying to make a move and they weren't able to, at least we know that there was an they couldn't even handle the left field. They couldn't even make a move for left field, so they weren't going to make a move for a first baseman. Here's where it gets even more puzzling. Was the roster move for it? Bringing Cabrera back and leaving Peraza in the minor leagues makes no sense whatsoever. Why would you not bring up Peraza, leave him at third base so you have LeMahieu to just cover first base for the time being? LeMahieu's a serviceable first baseman, and you could also platoon him with Bowers like we saw Bowers at first yesterday. We're going to see Bowers a lot. That would have been a smart move. These guys continue to just knock it out of their own way. They're constantly, and ode to Donald that's not here with us today. They perfect Yankifying everybody. Why are they so against bringing Peraza to this fucking lineup? It makes zero sense. You lose an infielder, so you bring back an outfielder. I don't get it. I really don't. And I know Cabrera could be, he can play the infield, blah, 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 but he hasn't really been playing it. They've been using him as a left fielder with IKF. Peraza is you made the statement in the beginning of the year that Peraza is your future with Volpe. Well, every time that there's a player that goes down and you have a window to bring this guy up, they shit the bed on it.
I feel bad for Cabrera because they've sent him up and down, I think, 4 times since end of May when he was initially sent down. Then they called him back up the second that we had the injury. They sent him down again and they called him up. He gets no rhythm. He was just starting to hit a little bit in AAA. He played a few games and he was getting into a little groove. Leave him there. Let him get into that groove because he hasn't been able to have when he was here, he stunk. It was clear as day he needed to go back to AAA, work on a couple of things, and then hopefully he gets it going. We get him back, and he's a serviceable utility man off the bench because that's his role. He's going to be a utility man. He's a switch hitter. He provides you a good spot on the bench, and he can play almost anywhere. There's a role for that in a Major League Baseball team. But the sending him up, calling him up, sending him down stuff does nothing for him. And it's not going to be a 10-day thing with Rizzo. If it is, I'd be surprised. But you're right. Why isn't Peraza here playing third base every day? And LeMahieu plays first. And you can put Bowers in left or right. I don't like it, but I guess it's okay just to keep his bat in the lineup, even though he's really not that good. But he's been one of our better hitters. But the fact that they're not doing this, it tells you that they don't want Peraza to potentially play really well, and then they have a tough decision to make when Rizzo does come back. Well, now we can't send Peraza down. We have to get rid of one of these outfielders that we don't want to get rid of in McKinney, Bowers, and Allen. None of these things they do make sense. And again, I said at the start of the show, we just won 2 games, and here we are finding reasons to be angry about this team because they just give us so many reasons to be angry. Peraza should be here once again. Should be at third base. This is a chance. The schedule gets a little bit easier after Houston, but he should be at third base every day. Volpe's starting to hit a little bit. Let Peraza play in that lineup. Put him at the bottom of the order if you have to. Don't bat him lead off. I don't know why they did that after not trusting him. Then they batted him lead off when they called him up that last time. That tells you everything you need to know, how they don't know what they're doing. But yeah, how is he not here? Why is Cabrera here just to sit on the bench when he was finally getting consistent playing time in Scranton and hitting? And they say, we don't need that. We need you to take up a spot on the bench. Peraza should be playing third every day. LeMahieu was at first. Torres at second. Volpe at short. Bowers and McKinney can handle the corners for all I care. And you could sit Stanton if you want, or you could put one of those two guys. Put McKinney in center. He did fine. I don't need Bader's bat in the lineup every day, but if that's what you're going to do, if you really need to keep these guys, then do that. But I don't know. I don't know how Peraza's not here. I don't really get it. They need to trade him in the offseason because it's clear as day they don't have a plan for him. And they only have one spot that opens up in September. So I don't think it's going to be him. I really think it's going to be Pereira that gets that spot when we get to September call-ups.
Which, I don't think I would be. I don't think I'd be opposed to Pereira getting called up. For September for the one spot. We know it should be. There are two other people we would prefer before him, but we obviously know that they have no idea what they're doing with Florial. Dude got he continues to just get screwed by this organization. Peraza's falling into the same umbrella with Florial. Where Peraza's gonna get fucking wasted. They're gonna waste his talent. It's pathetic. It really is. The answers are right in front of them, and they don't want to see it. Here we are, like you said, we just won a game last night against a team that embarrassed us in the postseason, and we never even had a chance against that team, where we actually was able to pull out a win. And there's all this negativity around this organization. That's how broken this team is. That's how flawed it is. That's how out of touch from the owner down to the manager. Nobody has a fucking clue. They really don't. But we do. Before we get to the game, we do have to get to the Herman thing, right? But before we switch to Herman, let's get to some of these comments about.
Well, Sunil calling me my dyslexia. I misspelled Middleton's name wrong in my thing there.
That's all right.
Thank you, Sunil. I'm not fixing it though.
So before trade, let's get to Mazza first. We're gonna get to all the comments about the Rizzo situation. I promise you that. He goes, they didn't make a move for anyone but two relievers. Oh no, this is the Herman thing. It's no, is it? No. For anyone for two releases we never heard of. The reason why they didn't bring up Peraza up is because he's hitting better. He's the better between them and him and Cabrera. Yeah, that's actually true. I really think that, like Rob said, they don't want Peraza to come up here and kind of flip the organization the bird going, look, this is what you're going to get if you play me regular. Right, give me regular time, and then when everybody comes back healthy, then what do you do with me? You're just going to send me back down anyway. So you might as well, at this point, you might as well just leave him in AAA and just let him keep developing until next year. There's no, I really think that's what they're going to do. They're going to make it they're not going to do anything. They're just going to let him sit. They're going to let him fucking rot. They're going to piss us all off. Jonathan, what's going on, Jonathan? Because they're incompetent. They absolutely. When it comes to this organization, I don't think that anything that they say can be really taken seriously anymore. That's not even a joke. The incompetence in this organization is astounding.
Right. Yeah. We kind of sound like we're drunk this morning. What are we, Domingo?
Because there's so many things to talk about. It's not even funny, and I'm They actually have me try to figure. I can't even get. I'm actually starting to sound like that, think like that, because I can't even get my head straight.
You're slurring your words there,
Trying to
Bobby.
make sense of everything that they do is actually starting to really break my mind down. And
they've broken Bobby Tats. They've done it. Uncle Tats has been broken by the New York Yankees. And speaking of broken, how about the clubhouse? Because apparently Domingo Germán's breaking televisions and throwing chairs, and they have to stick him in the sauna. What is this, Stranger Things? Who in the chat here has watched Stranger Things? When they stick Billy in the sauna to try to they use all the heat to get the evil out of him. That's what they did to Domingo Germán. That's what's going on in this clubhouse. And it's insane. Like, what else could happen this season? We've had players get suspended for pretty damn some bad things, like Jimmy Cordero. Germán's been suspended already. Now he's gone for the rest of the year because he's an alcoholic, and I hope that he gets the help that he needs. But the fact that they knew that he had a problem, and it took him until he started breaking shit in the clubhouse to be like, okay, well, you're gone. Another issue. But I don't know. I really don't know what else could go wrong. Like, they're mishandling concussions. They're having guys break stuff in the clubhouse. They're not making moves. The owner and GM apparently have differing opinions about how to attack the deadline, which Pete broke the news yesterday about that. We could talk about that later on if you want. There's so much dysfunction happening in such a short amount of time. And there's still 2 months to go. And we're still pushing for a playoff spot, as crazy as it sounds. We're still very much in the race. It's amazing that the dysfunction of this organization hasn't completely derailed this thing the way it would another team. And I think that kind of speaks to, it might sound a lot like Aaron Boone, but these guys, the players at least, they may care more than we think they do. They may not be that good, because clearly they haven't been that good, but you can't say they aren't at least giving it that old college try, because they're still fighting despite everything that's gone wrong. They could have just said, screw it. They don't care. Why should we? They're just going to roll over and do whatever. No, they're still fighting, though. They're still fighting, and they're still in it.
Yeah, can we take a little side trip here and mention really quick on IKF's press conference after the trade deadline how he was jumping up and down, excited, and he was so happy that he was not traded because he really enjoys being here. Can we really just give this guy his due? That I think he's at the top of the list of the guys that have never quit through all the bullshit with this team.
Yeah, and it came out at a good time because like 2 days ago or something like that, Stephen A. Smith, who I don't know why ESPN's even bothering to talk baseball. They're the worst sports channel anywhere. If you want to watch ESPN, you're watching trash. It's basically MTV at this point. It's a sports channel that barely talks about sports unless it's LeBron James. But Stephen A. was like, he wants IKF off the team. And I'm thinking, is IKF like an all-star? No. But you see the issue with this team? Absolutely not.
No.
How can you pick him? Now, again, I go back all the way to the offseason. If I had my choice of IKF or a left fielder, taking a left fielder every single day of the week. But the guy has done everything asked of him, lost the job in the spring quickly at shortstop. Didn't say trade me, didn't say release me, I want to go elsewhere. He just took the job that he was given, said, okay, we're going to put you in the outfield. Never played the outfield before. We're going to put you in the outfield. And he took it and ran with it. And he's done a good job. I give him credit. He's hit well at times. He's been really bad at times. He's a streaky hitter. He's not an everyday player. That's fine. There's a role for a player like him on a major league team. I've said that since last year, despite the fact that everyone wanted him gone last year. His press conference was great after the game. He's happy to be here. He wants to be here. And I'm glad for that. I know I don't think we still got an answer if this is Lynn or Chris, but whoever it is said re-sign IKF. And yeah, he's a third baseman, but they've rarely played him at third up until yesterday. Maybe you do re-sign him. Maybe that's why they didn't trade him. Maybe they do bring him back for another 2 years or something like that. He offers you speed. He offers you a contact bat. Now he can play the outfield. He can play third. You can put him at short in emergency situations. And maybe you put him at second if you want. They put him there this year. Every day, not an everyday, but an all-around utility guy, that's fine. And I give him credit for taking this role and rolling and running with it and not just demanding out like a lot of players would have.
It's not like when he came in, he made a couple of tough plays. He had a couple of bad looks in the outfield when they first drew him out there. And we're like, all right, well, of course he's not going to, we're not expecting him to fill in the outfield and be a gold glove outfielder. I think if that's what you were expecting, one, you just don't pay attention. And okay, we got Lynn here. It's going on, Lynn. He has actually, I think he's put in more work from anybody on that ride. I don't think anybody on this roster, maybe Judge, as far as the position players, have worked harder to make an impact on this team. I'm almost convinced of that. He's made sure that he's not the reason that they lose. He's the one that's been standing in front of his locker. He takes accountability, something that this organization has no fucking clue what that word even means. IKF is, if they brought him back, I really, at this point, I'm for it. If they did decide that they wanted to move on from him to bring up some of these younger guys, it's time. I think when it's said and done, he'll almost be like Didi, where we weren't sure what we were going to get. He gave us everything he had. He left it all on the field for us, and he'll be appreciated for it. But he's not a gold glove. He's not a superstar. He's not an all-star. He's just IKF, and he's done just fine.
Yeah, and he's gone from being like public enemy number one to possibly the most liked player on this team outside of the usual suspects like Judge and Stanton and Cole. Not Stanton because people hate Stanton, but but outside of like, Aaron Judge is my favorite, Garrett Cole's my favorite, Anthony Rizzo's my favorite. IKF is becoming like the most liked player on this team. If you would have told me that last year around this time, hey, August 2023, there's going to be a lot of praise for Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, not because he's tearing the cover off the ball, but because he's doing his job and doing it pretty well. I would have been like, you're absolutely insane. They were waiting outside of the stadium chanting to get rid of him when he was trying to drive out last year. To go from that to this, that's pretty impressive. That man has gone through it, and he's taking it in stride, and he's just taking the ball and go. They say, hey, you give me my job, I'm going to go do it. And we need more of that on this team. Just go and do what you're asked to do. However, the Yankees ask a lot of players to do things that they don't really think that they shouldn't be doing. Like Bauer should not be playing the outfield every day. We know this. Cordero should not have been playing as long as he did, all that stuff. But in terms of IKF, tip of the cap. He's done his job.
But unfortunately, let's get back to Mr. Barrows here with the Tats. You should have been the new GM, Rob, the new manager of the Yankees. They don't want us on that anywhere near that team because they're actually they might improve, and we're gonna want players gone that can't do the job. Too many feelings would be hurt. And
I'm glad he didn't recommend himself.
A safe space. Huh?
I'm glad he didn't recommend himself to be manager because he used to manage a team. My dad over there, he managed a team way back in the day. They sucked. So I'm just glad he didn't. I'm glad he didn't recommend himself. I should be the manager. He said that plenty of times, and I tell him no, you shouldn't. You couldn't manage a men's league team. You're not going to manage the Yankees. But I don't want to be the freaking GM of this team. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah. I wouldn't want to do it.
I would. Oh, I would. I'd come in there. The whole big thing with Fam was he was going to come in and slap everybody around. During the trade rumors before the deadline ended. And I'm like, that I would just smack the fuck out of all of them. Just be like, knock it off. I'd actually, you know what? I would go in there. The first thing I would say, I would pull a Terry Collins. If you're not hitting, you ain't playing. You hit or you sit. And it worked. It worked for the Mets for a little while. And I think that's a ballsy statement from a manager in this day of the game. But I want to get to Herman before we get to the rumors with Hal and how he handled the deadline. When it first came out that he was going into rehab, look, we all know his past. We're not going to go through the whole fucking history. it was kind of one of those, that really does suck. Every one of us has had to do, we all know somebody close to us that has battled a substance abuse issue, whether it's alcohol, drugs, gambling. It affects everybody. And you were almost like, I really hope he gets the help he needs. Then you hear more of the details come out throughout the day. You're like, you know what? Get him the help and then get him the fuck out. That was my mentality towards it. I'm so done with this guy. You gave us the perfect game. Great. We appreciate it. We'll remember it. It's time to leave. The Yankees, I'd say, look, we're going to get you the help you need. We'll take care of that. But we cannot put you on this field anymore. That's how I would fit. That's how I would finalize the whole Herman era.
Yeah, it's different than because it happened with CeCe a few years back, and it was during the playoffs. And CeCe had given you everything he had, gave you a World Series. He was your ace for so many years. It's different with Herman because he's been complete opposite of CeCe. Because Herman's been suspended multiple times since he's been with us. He's had times where he was good, times where he flat out stunk. Like obviously this year he's looked really good at times and he's looked really bad at times. Case in point, the game before his perfect game, he got lit up and then he threw a perfect game. So it's been the good and the bad with him. But yeah, at this point you can't. Yeah, exactly, Elliot. That really sums it up. You thought he was on the right path. Like what happened with him a couple of years ago with the same thing that Cordero's been suspended for. You can't forgive somebody for that. You just hope that they can make them. You hope that they can fix themselves. And apparently he's made right with his family. So that's a good thing. And he seemed like he was moving forward. And then this happens. And you never really know what's going on behind closed doors. But the fact that it turned out like Brian Cashman said an incident happened. And they left it at that. They didn't really go into detail. And then that report came out. Pete mentioned what he heard. And then SNY's report came out and it pretty much confirmed it. It's like, that's bad. Like the fact that two people had to pin him down into the sauna and say, sweat it out. That's pretty crazy. Then they also have a nap room that I didn't know about. Apparently the Yankees have a nap room. That's good to know. That safe space they're creating. They stuck him in there. They stuck him in the sauna. It was like the scene in Bronx Tale where they had to stick someone in the bathroom. What's going on here? Like, how is this the New York Yankees that were doing this? I know it's a rough year, but the fact that what led to it? Because he pitched, was it because he didn't get to start the game? And they said that wasn't the case. It had nothing to do with the deadline or nothing to do with the game before. I guess we'll never know what really led to it. But are they allowing players to drink in the clubhouse? Because how do you get?
Supposedly, he showed up at when he showed up to the stadium, he was drunk. So
Well,
it's possible. Now I don't know. Look, these are rumors, and these are not from sources. This is just from people talking. So I want to make that clear. This was not reported. This was just fan speculation. That there was a possibility he came to the clubhouse, still a little hungover, and they were giving him time to kind of sober up a little bit before putting him on the mound. And they had the stupid armpit thing. Again, it's transparency. Look, they could have just said that he wasn't feeling well. They could have said he had a stomach, his stomach was bothering him, that he wasn't able to take them out. We would have expected that more than he's got a sore armpit. If you're gonna lie to us, at least make it good. They don't even make up good lies anymore.
Yeah.
But I think that's what happened that game. But it's that could be what actually kind of pushed him over the edge. Was he came in ready to go? Yankees said, "Yeah, you are in no condition to take the mound. You got to sober up a little bit," and then it went on from there.
Yeah. Again, I don't think we're ever going to know the full details,
no. But that's Herman's business. If he's got it, look, he's getting the help. The Yankees are providing an avenue for him. I hope he's able to to battle this successfully and maybe have a career somewhere else, but it can't be with us.
Yeah, I think he's burned all his bridges at this point.
Yeah.
He's been given opportunity after opportunity, whether it was the suspension a few years ago, the suspension this year, and now this. Like, how do we say it in baseball? 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out. You're done. That's your third strike, buddy. Like, I hope that he does get another chance elsewhere, whether it's in MLB or maybe somewhere overseas or in another country. I don't know where he's going to go, but I'm sure there's another team out there that's going to give him a shot. There's plenty of teams that need starting pitching. He's not a terrible pitcher. He's a bottom of the rotation arm, and if teams hear he's made those strides, he's going through the process well, and everything's looking up.
Mm-hmm.
The Yankees will find him. He's still technically under contract till next year. I think he's on arbitration, so they could trade him just for anything, or maybe they just outright release him, DFA him, and a team picks him up, whatever. But I'm sure there's going to be another shot, but they have to know that he's actually taking this whole thing seriously, and then he'll get a shot elsewhere. But it can't be here, and it's not because he's not good. It's just because, again, that's the third time that he screwed this organization over with something foolish over the past, 3 years now.
Yeah.
It hasn't been that long since his first suspension. And then it was the sticky stuff that he almost got caught for twice this year. And now it's this. So it's like you can't keep giving the same person multiple chances. And if they're not going to fix it, then hopefully he'll be better for somebody else.
Yeah, I think Hypebeast puts it perfectly. You try to separate the player on the field from the player off the field, but when you bring that into the clubhouse, you got to go. Facts. That's absolutely true. Now, the one thing that we can't get rid of is this fucking owner and Brian Cashman. The two of them, they're like peas in a pod, those two. They constantly make it a mission every year to fuck this organization up. What was your take on the news that came out that there were deals in place for some pretty good pieces to get moved out? You don't know what the return was, but then you're hearing that Hal is the one that wanted to keep everything the way it was. Do you believe that at all?
Yeah, because Pete wouldn't put anything out that he didn't believe was true. That's one thing about Pete. I know people have opinions about him. They don't think he's got real sources and all that stuff, and they think he's making stuff up, but he's been right about a lot of things. And this is before his channel really took off to what it is today. Yeah. He's been breaking news. He's had a lot of news before outlets have had it, before reporters have had it. He wouldn't put stuff out there that he didn't believe. And that goes for every reporter out there. Pete's the same way. Clearly he has sources because he had that stuff about the clubhouse before SNY did. So I'm going to choose to believe Pete here because I saw that 2016, Brian Cashman, I know it was a while ago, but he realized the team was, even though they were still alive in the playoff race, it was a very similar situation. They were technically still alive, but things were not going well. He moved off some pieces and called up Judge, Tyler Austin, Gary Sanchez, right after that. The day after the deadline, those three were on the roster. And then they forced A-Rod to retire. Teixeira's contract was up after that year. And they went through with the baby bomber thing. I believe that Cashman wanted to trade a couple. I don't think not everybody we were trying to trade, but I think it was Bader, Herman might have been involved because Cashman.
Herman, Sevy, Torres, and I think King was in that conversation.
I would hope not King, but yeah, there's a few players that you could have moved. And I do believe that Cashman was going to try to make at least two or three trades.
No, it was Peralta, I believe, not King.
Yeah, Peralta would have made more sense because he's a rental, but I believe it. But Hal Steinbrenner, he always says, and if you watch Pete's video, he always says, when you get there, anything can happen. So he doesn't want to wave that white flag in year one, in year one of Aaron Judge's new contract. You still got Garrett Cole, Rodon's healthy, guys are getting healthy. Trading off those players would be waving the white flag in Hal Steinbrenner's mind. He didn't want to do that. I guess he's going to wait till the offseason to make some changes to the roster. But at that point, those players you could have traded, you're not going to have them anymore. That's what we're all upset about. Like, losing Harrison Bader is not going to cost you a playoff spot. I guarantee you that. Neither is losing Wandy Peralta. Gleyber Torres, maybe, because he's your second best hitter. But trading away Bader and Peralta, at the very least, that makes sense. That makes all the sense in the world, because you're not going to keep them most likely. Trade them. Just trade them and get Pereira up here. And guess what? You've jump-started your future in center field. You see if he's the guy. And you've gotten some assets back, because we saw this was a seller's market. And Gleyber Torres, I think you could have gotten one of those two arms from Miami, but their asking price was too much. But at the same time, we also heard the reports that Cashman was difficult to deal with. So maybe it was Hal said, don't trade him, but Cashman's like, let me see if I can get more than expected. And then maybe that'll change Hal's mind. Maybe that was Cashman's goal. Like,
that would make sense.
Yeah. I don't guess we really don't know, but it makes sense that Hal's not going to want to wave the white flag being 3 games out with 2 months to play. Hey, we just got Judge back. Hey, we got Cortez coming back. Hey, Rodon's back. Loizaga's coming. It makes sense that Hal's not going to be like, screw it, blow it up right now. But I also think we should have at least traded 1 or 2 players, even if it was a package deal. Get rid of some of them.
Yeah, no, I'm not questioning Pete's report. I'm more, all right, let's see if we can further make some heads or tails of it. Oh, yeah, we used to hang out with Pete back when he was the Simonetti source. You know, we've been riding with Pete for a long time. It also makes you wonder if, because they had suspicions with Rizzo, because of the issues that they knew was, you know, with Herman, because it's not like out of the blue they just noticed, oh, he's got, you know, he drinks a lot. You know, you see that shit coming. Was that the hesitation from Hal to kind of move anything, not knowing, you know, at least in-house, you have an idea of what you have to work with, as opposed to bringing somebody from the outside, you don't even know if it'll click. You know, I was wondering, you know, I'm sitting going, could that have been why they really wasted the deadline? Is that why they tried to just get a couple of pitchers to fill some spots? Because obviously with Herman, nobody, you know, that'd be pretty fucked up if they traded Herman knowing he had this problem. You know, to ship it to somebody else, this is bad business, right? I think we could agree on that. Moving Sevy, knowing that you're going to be shutting, you know, there's the chance that you have to shut down Herman, would be negligent to the pitching rotation, because you don't know what you're going to get back in return. So I think everything, you know, over the last week is really what caused the Yankees to have to kind of do what they did. Not that I think it was the best way to go, but there's got to be a way that would make sense of why they did what they did.
Yeah, and Cashman said that he didn't know about the Herman stuff until after the deadline, whether you want to believe him or not. But you could have traded Sevy, gotten whatever back, and even if you do lose Herman, guess what? Here comes Nestor, and Vasquez. Exactly. I was just about to say that Vasquez would have been much better.
Brito, you know,
Vasquez over Brito at this point.
No. I'm just saying, you know, there are options. Well, Brito. Yeah, the spot starts for Brito don't work. Vasquez actually does very, very well. He did very well on the few spot starts that gave him.
But I still think they should have tried to make some trades. But that's probably why Cashman was so difficult to deal with, because he was trying to get more to convince Hal, like, hey, look, I'm going to get player A and player B for Harrison Bader. You got to let me pull the trigger on this trade here. And the fact that didn't happen, I guess that's the reason why we didn't make a trade. So I don't know. It doesn't matter if you want to believe Hal's side, or if you want to believe that Hal's in the right or Cashman's in the right. It just shows you there's more dysfunction than we know about, because now the owner and GM, who we thought were lock in step with one another, now they're differing from each other. So it's gets even worse day by day. We find out more and more about this team that we thought It couldn't get worse, so it's getting worse by the freaking minute. Who knows what's going to break 10 minutes from now? Something else can come out.
No, please don't. Listen, we got Jigga Man, my man, the Jigga Man. What's going on? Good morning. Thanks for hanging out with us for a little bit. And it's don't speak any more fucking negative into it. I can't take it. Yeah, I just want to get through this little stretch. You know, let's start gearing at this thing towards a positive, right? We had a team come into the stadium yesterday that has owned the fuck out of us. And you're looking at the matchups, and you're like, yeah, this is going to be interesting. Schmidt, can we finally start giving him some credit as a starting pitcher? He has been, if you take the first month of the season off of his record, he's actually a much better pitcher than we've been than his numbers say. He has been a very very big bright spot in this rotation, and to handle a team that is just getting healthy, made some moves, and are playing very well. Pete came out and said it would not surprise him. He would bet right now that the Astros are going to finish with the best record of the second half. And our team that's flailing, no offense, a lot of question marks. He shut that lineup down. He really held his own. And we gotta really start giving Schmidt some of the credit he deserves.
Yeah, I go back to the first month and a half. I was saying I don't trust him to make anything, to give us anything, and now, I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with that at all, because George wasn't running the show the last time he won a World Series. It was his son that signed everybody. So the whole if George was still alive conversation is annoying to me. But anyway, Clark Schmidt is the perfect number 4, number 5 starter. He gives you 5, maybe 6, but he's giving you 3 or less runs like every start now. And that's perfect for the bottom of the rotation, especially in today's game where guys really don't give you 7, 8 innings, 9 innings anymore, unless they're a typical ace like Garrett Cole. So I hope you're right, Nicky.
No.
He was right about Stanton. He said if Stanton gets hot, this team's going to start hitting. And yesterday, Stanton hit 2 games in a row now. So, Nicky, I know people want to trash Mets fans a lot, but Nicky talks a lot of facts, and he always has.
Yeah, I think Nick's in the same boat as a lot of us are. You know, we're baseball fans that we root for the Yankees, he roots for the Mets. You know, it is what but it's not like they come on here and we just trash each other's team. TC Steels, what's going on? I saw you coming into that chat room. Welcome, good morning. But I think Nick was right. Nick came on here and he goes, as long as Stanton can get on a little bit of a hot streak, he will keep the season alive. And now with Judge back, if Stanton's going to get hot, like we said last week, if you get somebody with a hot bat behind Judge, they're going to have no choice but to pitch to him. And this is what we're seeing. You know, it sucks that Rizzo's not going to be in that mix, but we still have Torres. I think if you can get those 3 guys to just really just go on a tear, we can put up a really good fight or fuck up somebody else's chances to make it.
Yeah, Stanton and Judge need to be hitting one after the other. So whether it's 2 or 3, or if you want to move Judge down, but he needs to be right behind Aaron Judge. And yesterday I think it was a hard-fought win because, Schmidt wasn't perfect, but he battled. And then Tucker, I was the 6th inning, hit the home run to tie the game, and you're like, here we go. And then Volpe gave you the lead right back, and you're like, there you go. That's what we want to see. And then the bullpen shut it down. Yeah. And the bullpen just shut it down. Like, that's how we won games in April and May. It was they got that one big hit, and the bullpen did its job. I wish we would get more of that during the stretch. We're not asking to score 8 runs a game, but if you could put up 5 like 4, 5, or 6 runs a game, you're going to have a really good chance to win because of our bullpen. And I'm glad that we got some really big hits from, like, everyone's like, oh, it's got to be Aaron Judge. But yesterday, Stanton had the big hit. McKinney hit the home run right after him. And then Volpe had the big RBI to give us the lead. So he's been getting he's been getting hot too. And I'm hoping they don't try to screw him up again and move him up in the order because he's starting to hit.
Yeah, leave him where he is, please.
Right. But I'm hoping that this is a start of a hot streak for Stanton because we desperately need it. And if we can get some guys around them that can hit like Torres and LeMahieu, maybe Bowers give you some pop, whether he's batting. Still don't think he should be batting leadoff, but who knows? Who knows? I still don't know if we make the playoffs or not. A lot has to change, but it's a good start because we went from being terrible, losing so many games and feeling so bad, and now we've won 2 in a row. Hey, if we can try to win another one in this series, who knows?
This is an interesting kind of take on this. Is Judge the protection for Stanton?
Were they afraid to pitch to Stanton and pitch the Judge instead?
I would say, looking at it over the last couple of years, it's the other way around. Everybody is Judge's protection. I don't think Judge is protecting another player. You know, I think having the 2 of them back to back in the lineup is dangerous because if you make 2 mistakes, you're done. But I don't know. I think that it's as long as everybody's hot around Judge he's the heartbeat of that lineup. Everything revolves around Judge.
Unless he's referring to maybe batting Judge behind Stanton.
Is that what you mean, Nick? You want Stanton in front of Judge in the lineup? But because that way what you said would make sense.
So what would it be like? LeMahieu, Stanton, Judge?
Oh, using Judge to get Stanton better pitches. I don't know.
I guess no one wants to pitch to Judge. I'm surprised they did last night in the 7th, but
wait a minute. I think they would rather walk Judge and take their chances with Stanton. That's what I think.
If it was the other way around, you'd pitch to Stanton and not pitch to Judge.
Let's see. Pops here asks, do you think Judge should back cleanup from now on? I would move him into I would put him in a 3 spot.
Yeah, 2 or 3 seems to suit. Nowadays, you see a lot of teams put the best hitter, and he's been batting second since 2017. But you could put him anywhere. I mean, I think 4 is like the lowest you can put him in the lineup, but we don't really have like that prototypical top of the order. Like back in the day, that's where your power bat was in the 4 spot. But Torres isn't consistent enough. LeMahieu hasn't really been consistent enough. Like ideally, you'd be like Torres, LeMahieu, Rizzo, Judge if you want to put Judge in the cleanup spot, and then Stanton's behind him. That's a deadly 3-4-5 when they're all right. But right now, Judge hasn't given you a reason to move him out of the 4 spot. But if they tried it, it might make a little sense. If you want to put a lefty in there, like let's say they try Stanton in the 2 spot, and you go Stanton, Bowers, Judge, 2, 3, 4, because Bowers is basically your only lefty power bat right now. So you can give that a shot.
Yeah, it's one more thing. All right, Nick, we're gonna get to this one last time. Yeah, Stanton would get better pitches if they have Judge looming on deck. That argument makes that point makes more sense, right? That I'll agree with. What I could see in the ideal lineup would be if we can get LeMahieu right, and you have LeMahieu, Torres, Judge, Stanton as your 1, 2, 3, 4. And then maybe a Bader or an IKF in the 5 spot. Guys that could really battle in it back and are more contact to reset the. I think I would actually like watching that rotate that lineup.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having a little flip Stanton 2, Judge 3. I wouldn't mind trying it out because if Nikki's got a point, because they'd be like, we don't want to pitch to Aaron Judge. But if it starts an inning, obviously 1, 2, 3, they're going to have no choice but to either pitch around Stanton or pitch right to him. And if you leave a fastball over the middle, he's going to make you pay. So that could be something they try out just to try to get some offense going. I just want them to take Bowers out of that leadoff spot.
Yeah, well, that's the road that I'm going, especially to start off the game, because we all know once you go through the rotation, you don't know where you're going to end up. But if you're able to start a game like that, you talk about a headache for a starting pitcher. And if you're able to put up runs in the first inning, it could really set the tone for a whole game. It starts with the first inning to get through 9. If you can get a solid, a really potent top of the order, especially if you have guys like LeMahieu that can see a lot of pitches. If LeMahieu I would say even if LeMahieu and Stanton can get their strikeout rates down, that would be the almost a perfect lineup going into a postseason run.
Yeah, LeMahieu at his best is top of the order, 1, 2.
Yeah.
We still don't have a prototypical leadoff hitter.
No.
We just don't have it. The closest thing would be IKF because of his speed and contact, but I don't trust him at the top of the order either. So I mean, if we get LeMahieu right, then you move him right back to the 1 spot. Or you just put Torres back there. But right now with Rizzo's injury, you need the power more towards the middle of the order.
Yeah, the reason I didn't go with IKF is I'm giving him like the Volpe treatment. They're very comfortable near the bottom of the order. Just leave them there. They're going to be fine because they're going to be on base when the lineup turns over. So I would leave them a little further down the order. But that's how I would handle IKF and Volpe. Even like a Greg Allen or Bauer, leave them near the bottom. They're going to occasionally get on base. IKF and Volpe more than the others. And let them set the table for when the lineup flips. And there you go. You have that's a solid lineup with what we got.
Yeah, and it can always get better, though. I know Florial's in the IL right now, so I'm going to leave his name out of it. But Pereira should be here. Should. I think they're going to wait, though, till I don't know because if you call up a guy at a certain time, he doesn't get a year of service time. I think it's like middle of August or something.
You say Cabrera or Pereira?
Pereira.
Okay.
Because I think if they called him up like in September, it wouldn't count towards his service time to where they would lose a year of arbitration or he lose a year of his service time. Whatever the hell. I still don't know the rules of it all, but I think there's a date. Like if they hit like a certain day of the month. I don't know if it's this month or September, but it wouldn't count too much because Florial has been called up like 4 times in 4 seasons and still hasn't accrued a year of service time. So I don't know but they're probably waiting for that so they can manipulate the service time with Pereira.
Yeah, they're constantly going to yeah, Florial on the I didn't hear that either.
He's on the 7-day IL in AAA.
Oh, okay. This kid can't catch a break. It doesn't matter what he does. Poor Florial. But yeah, the fact that they didn't get a left fielder feels like a lost season. Jonathan, we've been saying that since the offseason started. And we're still. I bet you into the halfway through the next offseason, we're still going to be screaming, "Where's our left fielder?" Because they're not going to have a clue what they're doing. They're going to get some veteran, right? We can read it. We can say it now. We're going to get a veteran, just in case it doesn't work out with one of the prospects in spring training. The guy that we bring in as the rental is going to play a really good spring training, and they're just going to ride with him for the whole year.
And what bothers me the most is they brought in three minor league signings, and the only one that was like capable of playing the outfield was let go in Ortega. He was the only one that could actually play the outfield halfway decent, and they stuck with. Well, they had Cabrera and Hicks, but like They let him go. I thought he should have made the team. Remember, they let Florial make the team, and then they DFA'd him the next day because they got Cordero.
Yeah.
So they had a shot right there to let him roll with left field. But I again, that goes all the way back to what we've been saying for years now. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, Nick, we didn't need to watch the footage to know that the guy sucks. The numbers alone just tell the whole story. We don't need to look at it. But it's going to be interesting how they come out of the gate tonight. Because do we have any faith in Severino? No. He's going to get lit up. You know, the one thing you hope is that it's not just get through the first inning. If how sad is this? If he can give up 2-3 runs in the first, maybe we have a chance. But if he gets lit up like he did the last time, then the game's going to be over before we even get to the plate.
That'd be like what the fourth time it's happened this year. So
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if he can give you. Thing is, like I would say, if he starts getting lit up, then you just go with the guy like Brito because I think he's still here. But who's the long man out of the bullpen right now? Because we're going to have to use somebody when Nestor starts tomorrow because Nestor's going to be on a 60 pitch limit. I have no confidence in the dude. I'm hoping that he can give you like a Clark Schmidt type of start where he gives you 5 and gives up 3 or 4. At least you have a chance to come back in that game.
Yep.
I think who's pitching for them? Hunter Brown's for Houston tonight. So
I'll look it up right now.
So I know tomorrow's Verlander, so I've given up hope that we're winning that game. So we have to win tonight. We don't hit Verlander. And the fact that we have to see him again, I thought we were done with him for the season. But of course, he got traded to Houston right before we play them. Of course he does.
Let's see who's
I think it's Brown because they just had Valdez pitch.
Yeah, Brown's pitching. He's got a 7-7 record with a 4.12 ERA.
So he should throw.
Going against Severino, 2-5, 7.49. Jesus fucking Christ!
You know what's funny is Luis Severino would probably throw a shutout against the Yankees.
That's possible. Usually, the higher the ERA, the more the bats suck.
So maybe Brown's like right in that middle point because he's got over 4. You should be able to score like 5 runs on him. You lit up McClanahan the other night, which that surprised me.
That was shocking. But you know, we just talk about how fucking good Cole is. He's
we got 2 minutes left. We can talk about good Garrett Cole is.
Yeah. All right. So, quick question: what do you think the odds are that he stays? He gets serious considerations in Cy Young. Where do you rank him?
He's the Cy Young.
Yep.
There's no other question. He's the stopper. He's the true ace, best ERA in the American League, and he just shut down back-to-back games that he started against Baltimore and Tampa Bay. He shut down 2 really good lineups at times where the Yankees desperately needed him to do it. That's an ace. There's no conversation to me right now. If you're asking if the Cy Young was to be given out today, it's Garrett Cole.
Oh yeah, no doubt. No, I think the consensus is Cole is the Cy Young right now. No, I think that when you get a guy like Cole on your team, when you look at how disgusting, how pathetic this offense has been, to still have the numbers that he does, look, I know you guys are struggling, but I'll carry it. Unfortunately, more times than not with Cole, we see that he might not, he'll get a no decision because they can't score. Or the opposition's getting some runs on the bullpen and wasting a Cole start. He'll put up 2 runs, he'll give up a 2-run home run in the first, and we're like, all right, well, the offense isn't going to score the goddamn thing, so you lose the game 2-0 based on, what went at bat. That's been the bad luck for Cole. But when the numbers are the numbers, and this is a numbers game, Cole, I'm sorry, Ohtani, great player. He's not the Cy Young this year. He's going to be the MVP. Otani's not a Cy Young. Why would you even bring him up to the conversation?
No, if they gave Ohtani the Cy Young, then they should just stop giving out awards.
Yeah.
MVP 1,000% is Shohei Ohtani. There's no question. Because once Aaron Judge got hurt, now Ohtani is chasing 62, possibly even higher. He's the MVP. There's no debate about who the MVP is. But if they gave Ohtani that Cy Young because of his strikeout number is higher than Cole's, I think, then they should just give every single award to Shohei Ohtani every single year. Give him the Hank Aaron Award. Give him the MVP. Give him the Cy Young. John Heyman will give him a different kind of award behind closed doors. I love Ohtani. I love watching him. He's incredible for the sport. He is a once-in-a-lifetime type of player. He's not the Cy Young. He's not. No way is he the Cy Young. It's the same thing as last year. We said, is he him or Judge for MVP? You could not give it to Ohtani because Judge was doing it, something that hadn't been done since the 60s in the American League. Ohtani, this year, no questions the MVP. Cy Young, no, absolutely not.
And as much as I love to get people riled up when I talk shit about Ohtani, look, I'm not denying. I've never denied Ohtani is a great fucking player. But let's be honest, we even said it at the end of the season last year that last year's MVP race is going to be a trivia question till the end of time. Who was the only person to beat Ohtani for an MVP is going to be the trivia question. Because I don't see anytime soon that Ohtani's, I know I said, 5 years it'll be a waste. We all know that that's not likely. But I like to trash talk Ohtani. It's fun. But we all know it's that Ohtani is just, he's on another level. He really is.
He's great. He's great for the sport. He's incredible. Yeah. He's going to get $600 million at least next year.
Oh my God, he's going to kill it in the free agency.
I can't wait to see the amount of money he gets because there's no shot he's getting less than 500. No shot. If he got less than 500, then he just chose that he really wanted to play somewhere. Like let's say the Dodgers got him for like 450, which is still an incredibly insane amount of money, but you're going to get a really good hitter, a really good pitcher. We saw Judge's contract for being a really good hitter, and we've seen Garrett Cole's contract for being a really good pitcher. I mean, he's going to get like 500 at the least. I say maybe 5.
Because you're talking about combining a top contract for a hitter and a top contract for a pitcher. Put them into one. That's what he's going to get.
No, let's just put a guess out now. I know we still got plenty of time, but what do you think he's getting in the – who's signing him, and what do you think the I don't care about the years, but what is the dollar amount, the total dollar amount that he gets?
I think there's 3 teams that I'm putting on the top 3 that are going to get him out of all 30. I think it's either going to be the Mets, the Dodgers, or the Mariners. And I think he's getting 600. Easy.
I took the Mets out of it because I think they're going to try to get Yamamoto. I think he's getting posted this year, and it costs a lot less. They're trying to spend a little bit less money and rebuild things. Ohtani would be huge for them, but I don't think they go that route this year. I think he is going to Seattle, and I think they're going to break that bank. I think he's going to get like 575.
Yep. Yeah, Miles is saying Seattle for 5. Spencer's got the Dodgers for 530. Yeah, it's going to be a fun discussion throughout the as the season comes to a close. It really is. But the reason that I'm going with Seattle is, and I think Mazu and I talked about it, is he's got I think he's living in Seattle in his off time, and him and Ichiro are very close. And so I think that's going to be a big factor. I think Ichiro is going to get Ohtani to Seattle.
The amount of money that they're going to make just from his jersey sales alone, they're going to get that money back. I don't know. I'd love for him to be a Yankee, but there's no shot for getting $630 million. First of all, my dad complains about the money these guys make every day. Can you believe the money these guys make? And he throws out 630. I would love Ohtani, but that is obscene. What is that? That's $63 million a year.
Jesus Christ.
Could you imagine that, paying a player $63 million? He's gonna get that kind of money.
They didn't want to pay Judge.
That's 40. We're talking about that's Judge's contract with Josh Donaldson's added on top of it.
Oh my God. Knicks. We got a different team in here. We got Knicks thinking along with Seattle, but he also thinks the Giants can offer a deal.
It'll be a West Coast team, I think, for sure. Unless someone like on the East Coast goes, we'll give you six. Let's say everyone say we'll give you 575, 580. But if a team like the Red Sox came out and threw $600 million, he might take that, which terrifies me. Or even Baltimore. I think
the East Coast team's going to be the Mets because Cohen has stupid money.
I think Cohen might have learned his lesson a little bit. He spent crazy money the last 2 years, and it just fell on its face.
You think he'll be gun shy this offseason?
Well, he's still going to spend, but he's just not going to spend it all on one guy. I think he's going to he might get Yamamoto. He might get a couple of hitters. They need offense too. They need pitching, but they need offense. I think he's got to spend in multiple different ways. They might want Murakami the next year after that as well. If they don't, they got to sign Pete Alonso too. They need to extend him.
Yeah. No, I think the Mets are still going to. I think they're going to be a serious contender. There's no doubt about that. I think Cohen's going to be more cautious, not about how much he spends, but who he spends it on. I think that's where he tried for the quick championship, by bringing in respected pitching veterans. You can't fault him for that. At least he knew that it wasn't working and just pivoted real quick, not just sat on the money for a decade, like some other owners in New York might do. And so, but that's going to wrap things up for us today. Just everybody in the chat, thank you. Hit that like button. If you are not subscribed, hit that sub button. So Spencer, Sunil, Nick, NFE, Damian, Joan. We had Lynn from the upper deck. Jonathan, as always, much love. We got Mazza. Who else do we have in here? The MH showed up, Jiggaman. Right? We always love having Jiggaman pop in and say hello. TC Steels. I think I said NFE, but if not NFE, we had Medina. We had Anthony Garcia here earlier. All of you, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us. Hope you guys all enjoy your weekend. Make sure that you tune in tomorrow night, 10 p.m., Pinstripe Express. And we'll be breaking down the deadline throughout baseball and the postseason effects from there on. So make sure you check that out. We're going to have a wild lineup of a lot of good conversation going on. So make sure you tune in, check that out. And as always, wear your pinstripes of pride and play hard.